Hey everyone, it's already June and it's time for a garden tour.
We're going to take a quick walk around the garden and show you everything that has changed since the May garden tour. We've got beautiful hydrangeas in bloom and lots of annuals. All right, this month we're going to start right here on the deck with our beautiful planter box that is just overflowing with blooms right now. So if you didn't catch us planting this, we've got a Snow Princess Alyssum. We've got a Mini-Me Chartreuse Coleus, and this is a Coleus that will stay on the smaller side, but it can do sun or shade, which is perfect for the box. We've got Superbena Cobalt, and when we were picking out the plants, we didn't expect this one to be the main show, but it really is just like reaching through every single plant, and it's beautiful. Superbena is an annual that needs to be constantly moist. If they get dry at any point, the flowers will kind of shrivel up and they kind of go through a lull. So having them in the box with the really good soil in here and the consistent water every day, they are just loving it. And then the yellow that you see here and here, oh, this one's really pretty. This is Supertunia Saffron Finch. And it is pretty vigorous as well. It's really going for it. And then we've got Stratosphere White Gara as sort of like this airy little mass in here. But I want you to see this heuchera. You got to come get this, Brian. This is one wild berry heuchera, and I don't think I've ever seen one this big before. We've got some of these in the ground, and they are not nearly this big. You'll see. But I think having this in the Espoma land and sea compost and just kind of having the soil loose and that consistent water, I mean, they are really, really doing it. We've also got some gardenias in here that are just past flower. These are Diamond Spire from Southern Living. And I'm not kidding, when they were in bloom, like you walk through the gate or you walk out onto the deck and it just like hit you with this amazing scent. And it was so nice. But these will kind of continue to flower throughout the summer. But right now they're kind of in a lull and just pushing on some new growth. The other thing that we want to show you is an update on our Chelsea-inspired container planting. So Brian did a video a couple of weeks ago during the Chelsea Flower Show where he potted up this trough with a bunch of stuff. And, you know, when you see things planted at Chelsea, they are planted really tight like this and very whimsical. And it's kind of all the rules that we think about when we're planting our containers just go out the window. And I love it. I think it's so cool. So there's an Agastache in here. There's a Meteor Shower Verbena. There's some Gomphrena that is just starting to bloom. We've got some Dahlias. We've got the Tetrapanics that Jay gave us from Jay's Garden Journal. And we've got two of those in there. And then there's some roses and a little heuchera. And it's just, it's really starting to fill in, and it's looking really fun. So if we keep going down this way, I mean, just look back at the box. It's so nice. I'm like obsessed with it. And the way the light just catches it at the end of the day is so, so pretty. So if we come down here, we can take a walk through. Lots of stuff growing through here. And I'm sure we have some photos or footage of when this was under construction and when we started. Like, there was nothing here like a year and a half ago, and it's just insane how much it's filling up and how lush everything feels. So we've got some Indigo Frost Agapanthus that are just about to bloom. I was hoping that you guys would get to see them today as part of the tour, but they will bloom throughout the summer, so hopefully you get to see them on the next one. But we've got blooms on all of them except for this chunk right here, and I don't know what that's about, unless maybe it's just not enough sun right under this tree. But anyways, these down here are blooming. There's multiple blooms on each plant, which is amazing to see. We've got, oh my gosh, I didn't realize this was so bloomed out. This is a Blushing Bride hydrangea from Endless Summer, I think. And it's called Blushing Bride because you can see it's starting to go to like a blue color. So when they first come out, they are white, but slowly over time, they kind of age, not to a solid blue, but just like a very, very, very light blue or pink, depending on your soil's pH. So clearly we are very acidic here because it's completely blue. There's no pink at all. But this one was kind of like trampled all over when we were having the concrete put in, and it struggled last year, but clearly it's doing really well this year. We've got some brand new containers that we put in since the last tour, I think. If you guys are following us on Instagram and TikTok, you probably saw us do this, but we took all the containers out from before. They just weren't really matching with the aesthetic anymore, and brought in these new containers that we got from the garden shop, Gardens on Green, and potted them up with some stuff. So there's a tiger eye sumac in here with some, what are these called?
Geraniums?
Geraniums. Oh my gosh, my brain is just going. Maverick white geraniums underneath, so those will bloom white. We've got some ever white agapanthus. We've got an abelia here. And then on this side, we've got a summer crush hydrangea, which, oh my gosh, I think these are only supposed to get like 2 feet tall. I would say that we're past that at this point. And it's just such a nice pop. You know, everything along the entryway garden is white or of some kind of light color. And seeing this at the end of the entryway is just really, really nice. We've got an angel wing senecio, which does not look happy right now. And then some more geraniums and boxwood. But this right here, let's circle around this way, Brian. This is just like amazing.
So pretty.
This is one of my favorite views in the garden right now. It just looks so lush and so full. And you know, when you plant your garden, you dream of when they get to this point where like everything is touching and you can barely see the soil. And sometimes it takes a long time to get there. And I feel like we have been waiting for this moment for many years, and we're finally here. So we've got, this is I think it's tiny wine weigela in here. There's 2 of those. Those have already bloomed. Boxwood. And then underplanted here, we've got blushing princess alyssum. And we did this a couple years ago. And what we love about putting alyssum here is that they really do enjoy being wet. You know, sometimes you hear of annuals that don't like wet feet. Well, alyssum does not care at all. They actually love it. So this is the perfect spot to just fill up with alyssum. And I'm really liking just having even just the foliage over here is nice, just kind of covering up the soil. So we'll come on in here. We've got a lot of pretty things. There are 4 Let's Dance Skyview hydrangeas, and I was really, really, really hoping that these would be blue this year, but they are clearly very pink. So I'm gonna have to get some soil acidifier out here and put it on them because we do want this to be at least purple. You know, the weigela is pink, and while they aren't blooming at the same time, we do want to have some different color interest here. But these are filling in really nicely, and they're just about to touch. This one doesn't get as tall, but it does get very wide. So I think it only gets about 2 feet tall, but we'll get 3 to 4 feet wide. And you can see this one here is starting to reach out. Way back over in there, we've got some Golden Dreams coleus that are starting to come out. And it's really filling in. There's some Cheyenne Sky Grass. This is a Bluebeard that's just starting to bloom. Spirea's gone. And you guys saw us a couple of weeks ago plant all of this Nepeta. So this is Cat's Meow Nepeta, and it is finally starting to bloom. It is just starting to rise up, and it's such a nice little blue pop right here. And I'm just waiting for it to get super tall and just very, very bold color once we get some more blooms on them. But I think this will be a nice little Nepeta hedge once it's all blooming. So we got, I think, 11 on this side, 3 on this side, and yeah, they're coming in really nicely. Back here we've got the Tuscan Sun Heliopsis, which has been in bloom really since we planted it. And you know, these are small because they were sent to us, and we couldn't have them super big being sent. But normally this would be like 3 feet tall. So just imagine this being covered in yellow and being much taller. Back here, we've got, oh my gosh. Okay, wait, I have to talk about this tree. So this is a Hortsman Blue Atlas Cedar, and this was planted kind of back a little bit in between those 2 arborvitaes. and it just didn't sit right with us. Like we planted it there probably a year and a half ago, and we just kept looking at it and looking at it and thinking, we need to pull this out more. So we pulled it out, and within a couple of days, like it dropped a ton of needles and it turned brown, and we thought, uh-oh, we're gonna lose this one. So we started, you know, thinking about what we would replace it with. I came in and added some more emitters onto the drip tubing, and it's doing amazing now. And it's put on so much new growth. I mean, look at this. This is insane. And now it finally has a bright blue color. Even when we planted it back there, I don't think it was getting enough sun, and it wasn't very vibrant, but it's doing exactly what we want it to now. Back here, we've got some bear's breeches, and I think, would you say this is your favorite perennial, Brian?
Yeah, I think this is one of them. I think lamb's ear is my favorite perennial, but I do think that bear's breeches is maybe a new favorite for me. It just looks so majestic and interesting, and it's got that sort of mountain vibe to it, and I feel like you could see it in a meadow when you come around the corner in a mountain, and it would just look so pretty. And that's why we planted it here, because you sort of come around this corner behind the cedar, and it looks so pretty.
Yeah, and we're kind of got like a woodland vibe going on back here.
Exactly.
And normally these would be much taller. I think last year they were like up here, but we transplanted them kind of late, so I think we stunted them a little bit, but I'm at least glad that we got some blooms. So if you don't have bear's breeches in your garden, it's something that we personally find a lot of joy in. They do best in like a part sun situation. As you can see, that one back there, the foliage is a little bit wilted, but they are blooming for us, so we are happy with that this year. This is a hydrangea that I have been waiting to see bloom like this for, I think, 3 years. This is Tough Stuff Aha, and it is a mountain hydrangea, so it just has flowers around the outside, kind of like a ring of flowers, if you will. And then we get the little florets in the middle. That's right?
Yep.
And what I love about this one is that the flowers are like really big, and it's a very pale blue and pink color. And I actually love how this is, none of them are a single color. They're all kind of blue and pink, purple, and from far back you just see this kind of shining through the garden, and it's so, so cool. These will get, I think, 3 to 4 feet tall and wide, so eventually, I mean, we'll be up here next year, hopefully, which will be really cool. Back here, we've got, this is a really cool miscanthus that has never gotten this big before, but now that we don't have the trees anymore, it's getting so much sun. I cannot remember the name of it, but it's kind of stripy, and I don't think it will actually put on plumes. Do you know the name?
I think they call it a zebra grass, so I think it's something
okay.
Like around that. If you searched for it, you could find it. And I do actually think they put on plumes.
Oh, cool. Well, that will be some extra interest for us later on in the season. But I love seeing that get some height on it. And then we are just being taken over by gooseneck loosestrife. So Brian got, I don't know what, 3 or 4 little pieces of gooseneck from his mom's garden a few years ago, and they were like barely taking, and then all of a sudden this year it's like everywhere. So if you've never had gooseneck in your garden, it can spread quite vigorously, but we actually wanted that back here, so we don't mind that, and it's really cool. It almost looks like an exaggerated veronica or something. It just is like curled and, I don't know, really cool. So we're probably going to have to start pulling. If it starts encroaching past the tree next year, we're going to have to start pulling it some, but it is really cool. And again, a nice layer effect with the hydrangeas a little bit lower. This is taller. And we also have, I have to talk about it, there is a serious poison ivy problem back here.
It's everywhere.
So we are planning to next week come out here and just pull. I mean, we've done the stump and vine killer painting. It's just so vigorous. Like we have to pull it and cut it. So we had it, it was growing all the way up the tree, which you can see all the dead. We had it cut earlier this year, but if we don't get a hang on it, it's gonna do the very same thing again. So Brian is extremely allergic. So far, I'm not allergic, that we have noticed. So we've got some work to do on that. Back here, This is our like shade corner. I just love this area of the garden this year, don't you?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite spots, and I think it's just because of all the contrast.
Yeah. So we've got lamium that is just kind of taking over and heading this way as a ground cover. We've got wildberry heucheras, which if you remember in the box, we showed you that heuchera that was so big. These are much smaller, which I actually prefer back here because it gives us the opportunity to pop in some other things. We've got some carex called Everillo. There is a coast-to-coast hosta back there that is gold. And then we've got our summer gold dogwood. And while it did not flower this year, it is looking really, really nice with the variegated foliage, and is just such a nice pop against the oak leaf foliage and blooms. And I cannot wait to see this in the fall. So if you haven't grown oak leaves before, oak leaf hydrangeas will turn really dark burgundy red in the fall. And then I think the dogwood will actually get some really cool colors on it too. So this is just gonna be like a beautiful fall show here in a couple of months. But we posted this on Instagram a few weeks ago, and this is just proof that you don't always have to have blooms in your gardens to have interest. And I actually think there's so many cool perennials, plants that you can plant in a shade garden that are interesting, that aren't hostas. You know, I think sometimes people get caught up in, we can only plant hostas in shade, but we've got so many things in here that in addition to the hostas that just add some nice layering and additional texture. So if we keep walking this way, we've got some Queen of Hearts Brennera that we transplanted from underneath the two trees that were in the old island bed, and they are huge this year. I mean, the leaves never got this big when they were planted in the old spot. And I don't know what that is about. I don't know if it's like a water thing, like the trees were taking up too much water, or if maybe they actually like getting a little bit of sun back here, but they are really, really pretty. So I'm excited to see these fill in over the next few years. We've got a Fairy Trail Bride hydrangea that is doing okay. We haven't had a lot of luck with this one, but it did bloom really nicely this year. So for now, it's gonna stay in the spot.
My mom actually has this one in a container, and it is lush and beautiful. So I think that maybe these do a little bit better in a container setting.
And every year she sends us pictures of it, bragging like, look at my hydrangea, look at it, it's so pretty. And we're like, oh my gosh, ours never looks like that. But I don't know, maybe you guys have better luck with them than we do.
Yes. There's also some geraniums popped in there that came in a 4-pack from Costco that I hated to throw out. Begonias, you're right, that I hated to throw out. So they are in there inching themselves along, and hopefully will be beautiful in no time.
Normally we get the dragon wing begonias or angel wing begonias and put them back here, but we haven't been able to find them this year. So we just popped these from Costco, and hopefully in a couple of weeks they'll be blooming back to normal. If we keep going this way, we've got our Bloodgood Japanese maple that we transplanted earlier this year. And honestly, like looking at how big it is, I can't believe that we did that.
It never even skipped a beat, which is so crazy to me.
Yeah, there's one branch in there that doesn't have any leaves on it, but that's it. Well, and I guess there's one down there, but I would consider that a success. I mean, standing back, you would never know that anything happened to it. The only thing is that the color isn't as vibrant now that we're back here in a little bit more shade. But I think that will probably change once we get to fall and the leaves start to drop. It'll probably go back bright red. They usually do for us anyway. In here, inside of our Sprinter boxwood ring, we've got Invincible Wee White hydrangeas. And this is insane. We have never had these look so good. And I don't know what we did. I'm not sure if it's the additional sun that we're getting now, but this bloom is just gorgeous, and it's huge.
And they look so pretty next to each other.
Yeah.
In the Japanese maple.
They look really healthy this year too. Like in the past couple of years, they have come out and gotten a disease like almost instantly. And so what I did was, as soon as they started to emerge with the foliage, I came in and sprayed with neem oil. I don't know what kind of disease was taking over them, but it seems to have worked. They look really, really nice. So, I mean, hopefully next year they'll be just a little bit taller. They're almost full size.
We didn't quite get to shearing our boxwoods back here this year.
Yeah.
I think we missed it by like a week, and it got a little too hot, so we just decided to let them go.
I actually like it because for the first year, they're actually touching each other.
Yeah.
I personally don't mind the woolly boxwoods. I like it.
I think it's pretty because you can see the difference in the green, and
Yeah.
I just think that that's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And next year when we do shear them, it'll just be even thicker.
We do have some spider mite damage on these back here.
Ugh.
You can tell the difference too. Like this has a lot of new growth on it. These, not so much. So we've been spraying them every week while we alternate. So one week we'll do neem oil. The next week we'll do something else, just to kind of keep the spider mites on their toes and get them out of here. This way we've got the tough. So back there we saw Tough Stuff Aha. This is just regular old Tough Stuff hydrangea, and these bloomed really, really well in the island bed. So we had them planted under the what kind of tree is that? Sweet gum tree. We had them planted under the sweet gum tree, and they just bloomed so well. And we brought them back here for some additional color. This used to be a moon garden where everything was white. So we're starting to change that over. But I mean, they're not doing as great this year. I think we probably just made them mad. So this one looks really good. We get like a little bit less blooms, and then we got no blooms. So I don't know what that's about, but this one is really pretty. And I mean, I would highly suggest this one if you're looking for a mountain hydrangea in your garden that can take part shade. You can tell the blooms are a little bit smaller than the Tough Stuff Aha, and the flowers on Aha are almost a double, and these are just a little bit more rounded, but still really pretty. And again, I'm gonna have to get out here with my soil acidifier because those are very, very pink.
Yeah.
This way we've got some more Agastaki. This is a pink variety that Proven Winner sent out. And do you know the name, Brian?
It's raspberry something, I believe.
We'll grab it and put it out there for you guys. But this was sent as an annual and came back. Beautiful. So we're just leaving it here, gonna let it bloom. I'm gonna try not to talk about everything in here, but there's a lot of new stuff that we wanna make sure we cover. So we've got, oh, can you follow me back here and get
So
this,
pretty.
Rebecca? This is, I think, Gloriosa Double, and I grew this from seed probably 2 or 3 years ago now, and it has come back every year better and better. And I'm hoping that it will spread a little bit this year and we'll get some more. But it just is like, it's like a big teddy bear. I love
I think
it.
I've upset the bird. I just heard
Oh,
him.
no.
So we have
they
a bird
there?
in there with babies, so we're trying not to be too crazy.
Is he in there?
I think he just left,
Oh, no.
but that's okay.
Okay. Little lime hydrangeas. Not so little, in my opinion. We've had these here for probably 4 years, and they were not getting hardly any sun at all. And since we had everything cut down along the fence and over there, they are just really, really shooting up. So I can't wait to see those bloom.
Yeah, these black-eyed Susans in front of you.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That was from like what, 2 or 3 little black-eyed Susans, and
Yep.
they have just spread. We're swallowing up this nightlight sedum right here. We need to move this.
Oh my goodness.
It's like, it's not even colored up. So that we have 3 nightlight sedum here, which are supposed to be black, but that one is clearly not. We've got Niagara Falls Panicum. There is a Blue Chiffon Rose of Sharon. We've got a Lilac Crush Hibiscus that we transplanted, and it was really mad at first, but it recovered, and I think it's gonna bloom perfect this year. There's 3 Arctic Fire Dogwoods dotted in here. And then what else do we have? We've got, this is a Heliopsis called, oh, I just had the name. Eclipse.
I think that's right.
Eclipse something Heliopsis, but it has this like dark purple leaf, and then the blooms are yellow to orange. They kind of vary. So I think that will be some really cool, interesting. We got a little bud
Looks like we're gonna get
right
some.
there.
Pretty.
Very exciting.
We know there's a lot missing in here. It looks a little blank in places, but I actually am so excited about it because it's finally looking like one unified garden.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because the shed bed came like here.
Yep.
And went around this way. And for a while, you could still kind of see that, but I think slowly we're taking that away, and it's just becoming one big Peninsula garden.
It's gonna be gorgeous.
We've got our Camelot lavender foxgloves in here, and then this is a bluebeard called Pink.
Pink beard? Pink-a-blue?
I always call it pink beard.
Yeah.
Because it is a bluebeard that blooms pink. But we transplanted these as well. Everything is like a transplant at this point. Before I go down the path, let's go this way. So we've got an indigo eyes pine right here that's put on a lot of new growth. And then we've got the raspberry, I think they're called raspberry sorbet coneflowers. They bloom as like a double. So you can see they come out and they're kind of like a pink lavender color, but then the center will puff up like this one. And one thing that I love about having coneflowers in our garden is that if you leave the seed heads, it will actually provide food for birds. And we, every year, without fail, we get a little family of yellow finches, and they usually arrive like August time frame and munch on the coneflowers, and the other day we already saw them. So I guess because these are a little bit past some of them, they're like, all right, it's dinner time, let's go. And they arrived. So that's just kind of something that we love to see in the garden is not only do we get to enjoy it, but the wildlife and the birds and all of that. We've got 3 King of the Ages daylilies in here that are about to bloom. And then we've got a fiber optics button bush that is also about to bloom. I think we can go down the path now. So in here, clearly we have left a path. We are going to be adding some sort of stone path through here just to provide some extra interest in another way to get through the garden. But we have yet to pick out what we want. Brian has a vision. I have a vision. We've got to bring those visions together somehow. We'll get to it eventually, I promise. We've got some Daisy May daisies in here, and Brian transplanted these a few days ago, and they're all happy except for this one. A little bit floppy in here, but it should be okay. We've got a lot of white going on right here along the path, which I think is kind of cool. We've got the white cleome in here as well, and this is an annual, so it will be in bloom all season long if you've never grown that before, and it will just kind of keep going taller and taller and taller and taller. And I think it gets, what, like 4 or 5 feet tall maybe?
Yeah, I'm excited to see what it does by the end of the season.
Yeah. We've got another Niagara Falls grass, and then this is an unidentified rose from David Austin. So last year we ordered 3 Golden Celebration roses from David Austin. There was one when we planted it where the foliage looked different, and we were like, something's not right. And then when they bloomed, we got this, pink. Oh gosh, I just stuck myself.
Goodness.
Clearly not golden at all. So I have no idea what rose this is. We have not been able to identify it, but it's still pretty. And we decided to pop it here along the edge. And something that we have been trying to do is adding in roses where you can step in and like smell the bloom and not have to trounce through the garden. So we've got one here, and then on this side, it's past its bloom, but we've got a mother of pearl rose from Bloomables, which is also kind of like a similar color. And we didn't really plan that, it just worked out that way. We've got some green twister coneflowers. Look how pretty. I think we've got 4 in here.
I love these. I think they're so happy.
They're very summery. Reminds me of watermelon. And then behind that, there's some Blue Fortune Agastaki. Just coming into bloom.
We've got some vole damage here.
The vole is like, I'm like, I promise you are not going to get these new perennials from us. We came in here yesterday and tried to make sure the plants were okay. Everything seems okay for now, so we shall see. This is the White Caps Stokes Aster from Proven Winners. I think this is new for this year, and it's really pretty. And like the pollinators are going crazy over it. We've got some Serendipity alliums that are past their bloom. And then this is something we did not plant on camera when we did all of our perennials. we came in and added some Mini Vista Indigo Supertunias and then Ridiculous Coleus. And I can't decide if this Coleus or the Golden Dreams Coleus is my favorite. Both are very striking. The red is just so deep, but then the Golden Dreams is just so interesting. Which one do you like better?
I think I like Wicked Witch the best.
Oh, neither of the two. Well, we'll see that out front in a minute. And then this is a little hottie panicle hydrangea, which will come into bloom later on in the season.
Yep.
I didn't talk about this at all. This is I guess I can step over in here. This is a Carolina Sweetheart redbud, and we planted this. This was one of the first things we planted in here, I think.
Yep.
This season, and when we bought it, it was not leafed out, and so that's kind of a risk. You know, you don't know what state the plant is going to be in, but for us, it was the perfect shape. Kind of had the perfect kind of sticks, if you will, and layering. And so we brought it home, and so far, every single branch has leafed out except for this one. So I would consider that a success.
Yes, and then we've got right here in front to the left, we have a dwarf ginkgo, which I think we've talked about this before, but I know somebody asked last time we did a tour because we didn't focus on it too much. But this was one of our purchases because we love ginkgo trees, but we didn't have space for trees that large. And we transplanted it over here with everything else this year, and I really like where it's at.
Yeah, I think it's going to be cool. I do wish we had enough coleus to kind of go over here and fill this gap. So that might be a thing we go get this weekend. We shall see. I didn't talk about this guy. So this is a mugo pine called Pesto. It's a ground cover conifer. And so it won't really get much taller than this. So this new growth will come out, and you can see it's already kind of laying over, and it will just kind of spread along the ground here. Really only a few inches every year. Not a lot of growth happening. Midnight Masquerade Penstemon is just now going out of bloom, but I promise you, from the moment I planted that, which was, what, April, early May, maybe?
Yep.
It's been in bloom for that long. So, I mean, at least 5 weeks.
Yeah, and we've been comparing the different penstemon varieties we have around the garden, and this is definitely the longest blooming. My mom also has this in her garden and was just commenting about how long it's blooming for her.
Yeah, and it's a very, very dark pink color, which is also super striking. Shall we head this way?
Let's do it.
So here we've got some White Wands Veronica that the pollinators are just going crazy for. And I think this might be one of my favorite perennials because it just is so easy. Doesn't require a ton of water. You really don't have to deadhead it for it to continue to bloom. And it'll just look magical all season. We've got our Back to the Fuchsia Salvia in here, one in a melon coneflowers that are starting to come into bloom. This really nice, like, cantaloupe color, hence the name. It's going to be really pretty. Doesn't look like much now, but it certainly will be. We've got the Webmaster Tradescantia, and then this is a Goldspire ginkgo, which, to Brian's point, we do love ginkgos. This will only get about 10 to 15 feet tall, 6 feet wide. So definitely not as big as your average ginkgo, which normally they get like 50 feet tall. It's not something we have room for here. We've got Midnight Velvet Sedum, and I love this sedum. I think in the past we haven't been drawn to sedum so much, but they're just so easy. Like, you really don't have to give them much water. They don't like to be fertilized. You know, you don't have to deadhead or anything like that. The gnats are going crazy right now on me. Can you see this on camera? No. You don't have to deadhead them. They're just so easy. And so if you've got a hot, full sun, dry spot, you got to get some sedum in your garden. Iris in here. We've got some Lime Time Coleus, which they were in their little 4-inch container for a long time, and they did not look good when we planted them. But I think they're starting to rebound. They were very, 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 very chartreuse, and we're starting to get a little bit more green in them. We've got Coral Sunset Phlox.
We have to show that.
I love this phlox, and I love that it's blooming. I wish that it was taller, but I will take this. It just is so striking from far away. In the middle, just looks almost iridescent.
I just
This
feel
one's
like,
even prettier.
yeah, the camera's definitely not doing the sky justice.
It's not. These will get like 3 feet tall. So there'll be a nice layer back here.
Yeah, we had considered cutting the blooms off of these to let them bulk up on the actual foliage, but I just hate to because they keep reblooming.
Yeah. I'm glad we didn't, honestly. Lavender taffeta bee balm. Lavender taffeta bee balm, which we have some in bloom down in the Union Garden that we'll see in just a second. And then just look at the layering back through here. I mean, we're really starting to fill in, and back that way is what we want this whole space to look like. Just a bunch of layers, pretty blooms everywhere. Love it. Loving it. Okay, Union Garden.
Let's do it.
Got little hottie hydrangeas coming into bloom.
Look how big
this
they are
one's
this
really
year.
far along. All right. Yeah, these have kind of been small for the past couple of years, but they seem to be doing a lot better this year. Cool. Flipside Vitex tree is about to bloom, and we've shown this before, but it's called Flipside because when you flip it over, the leaves are purple. It's really fun. We've got our Golden Falls redbud here that we just planted a couple weeks ago, doing pretty good. And then if we come in here to the Union Garden, it is a little insane. So this side is just, God, the gnats are really getting to me. I apologize. This side is just insane with the hostas. We're going to have to divide these next year. I mean, there's no way we can keep doing this.
Yeah, every year when these hostas come back, I just think they couldn't possibly get any bigger than they were the last.
Here we are.
Every year I'm proven wrong. And the Empress Wu down at the end is kind of the proof that we have to get in here because it's covering everything that we've planted underneath it up, and we can't have that. So I think we're going to have to come in here and divide and maybe clear out some hostas and pull in some other stuff to this side.
Amber Jubilee 9-bark, looking really pretty.
So pretty.
And then this is Dark Side of the Moon Astilbe. Is it supposed to get this tall?
Yeah, I think the blooms are supposed to get tall, but I have never seen it do this.
It's insane. I wish it was in bloom for you guys. It's going to be so pretty. So if you've been following us, you know the Union Garden is where we have everything purple, and these are going to be purple as well. So Astilbe is one that you want to make sure you have in a wet spot, complete opposite of sedum. Got to be in a wet spot. If you don't give them enough water, they will really just like crisp up, and you get a bloom for like 30 seconds, and then it's over. I'm not even kidding. This is going to be really cool. And even when this isn't blooming, I mean, the foliage itself is just a nice contrast.
Yeah, and that's really what this side of the Union Garden is foliage.
Yep.
This is the hosta collection, and then I think some foliage elements that we've plugged in. But all the hosta are about to bloom, and that's one of my favorite times is to see all the different hosta blooms together, and the bees just go crazy. All the pollinators come over here, so it's a really fun time in this side of the garden.
There's a weeping white spruce that is just completely swallowed up right now. You can barely see him. And then on this side, this is all of our sun-loving perennials. Down here, we've got probably the best looking Supertunia Tiara Blue in the whole garden. It's got the perfect little white ring in the middle, mounding up very nicely. I love this Supertunia. And there's some betony next to it. We've got more Cat's Meow Nepeta. And then we've got, right here, we've got a Pugster Blue butterfly bush that is about to bloom. And then I want to show this to you guys as well. This is the purple variety of the Stokes Aster that is new this year. This one is called Riptide. And again, the pollinators just go crazy for this. And it has been in bloom for a few weeks now, and I think we'll continue to deadhead, and hopefully that will encourage more blooms. And honestly, I would like to get some more of them because they're really pretty over here. Back here is the Lavender Taffeta Bee Balm. So we have 3 of those up on the hill in the Peninsula garden, and we've got 2 in here as well. And we planted this as just like little perennial last year, and it's already spread pretty wide, which is what we like over here. We want this to kind of take over and not be able to see much soil. Other than that, we're just kind of in a bit of a lull with perennials over here right now. The Nepeta, again, is just not looking so hot, so we might have to pull that. And then we've got this. I think this is a goner, Brian.
Yeah, proof of our vole.
Yeah. Look at that. He
We've
ate the whole root ball.
Yeah, and we've also had really bad issues with pill bugs this year. And I came over here and saw about 10 pill bugs eating the roots. So
Lovely.
we're going to have to get on top of that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Lots of fun. Fun stuff. Serendipity alliums are about to pop, except for these two back here. I don't know what's going on, but they're a little late. They are coming up with buds, but these three in the front are a little bit ahead of schedule. I don't know what's going on there. Okay, let's head this way. We can take a look at the cottage garden here. And there is not much happening, folks. We've got some work to do. So this, over the years, has just been kind of a menagerie of things. There's our 3 clematis in here, which I think that was one of the first things we've planted. We've got some falling in love sweetly anemones that are really going for it. And then we've transplanted some roses in here. This one is Carding Mill, and this one is Windermere, I think. Mm-hmm. A white rose. Just kind of some things, you know, over the years that we have collected in here, but we want this to be more Chelsea inspired. So I think we're going to be adding some more like delphiniums, more foxgloves, more like tall, wispy things, and really pack this bed out. But for right now, our focus is on other areas of the garden. We did pop a couple of Stratosphere White Gara, and this is actually, while it is sold as an annual, this is actually a perennial in our zone. I think it's hardy zones 6 to 9, which is perfect for us because we're right on the cusp of 7, 8. We usually plant for an 8. So this will be some nice wispy that will be in here for years to come.
Yep.
Okay, let's take a walk. We'll walk down the entryway path now and head out to the front gardens. Oh, I didn't talk about this. This is another new redbud that we have in our garden. This is called Garden Gems Amethyst, Eastern Redbud. And we planted it here in a container because it is currently on the small side, but it does also stay on the smaller side in terms of redbuds. And it's just got really pretty foliage. The purple and green is so nice as the sun is setting and gives us some more interest here on the patio. And then we planted it underneath with some Supertunia latte that were super leggy, and we cut them back. And so they're just not in bloom right now, but they will be shortly. So if we head this way, you'll get another view of the entryway garden. And I love this space so much. It just feels so magical. The ajuga is really starting to take off. This was one little plug last year. I think it started right here and then just has kind of gone. I love the tricolor ajuga. It's not something that we were really into before. I think you wanted it, and I was like, okay, sure. But now it's really pretty. And I think
I'm really into ground covers.
Yeah.
They just have so many different unique things, and they stay so small. And I think my brain is like programmed to fill spaces.
Yeah.
And so that's probably what that's about.
Yeah. So if we keep going here, we've got some Hakanakloa grass. We've got another, look at this. This is another blushing bride. Look how blue this one is.
So pretty.
So this one is very far along in terms of age. So you can see here, they come out sort of creamy white, and they'll age to blue or pink.
Yep. What about that urn behind there?
Oh my gosh, we are behind. This is like fall planting from last year that we have yet to redo.
I can't believe there's still violas in here blooming.
Yeah.
The dog hobble looks interesting though.
Yeah, this is Paisley Pup dog hobble. Interesting that the new growth is so solid.
Yeah,
I thought that they would all look like that.
Mm-hmm. It looks like a completely
kind of
different
weird.
shrub.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. And then we've got this is a Scentlandia, which has already bloomed, and it is really reaching out here. We're gonna have to trim this back a little bit. We've got a summer sweet called Crystallina, I think, that is about to bloom for the first time. Never seen this bloom. It had blooms on it last season, and all of a sudden they just like crisped up and dropped. So hopefully we get some pretty blooms here. I think that's it for back here. Why don't we head out front? All right. So out front here, we've got a lot of pretty things to look at. We've got Brian's favorite, Wicked Witch Coleus. It is pretty cool.
Yeah,
I have to give it to you.
I think it's so interesting because it's got the green and the red. And
Yeah.
I think that in dark places, that little etching along the edge just really helps it stand out.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because if we had just put the ridiculous here, it could have gotten lost against the fence. But having the lime green variation on the edges is really cool.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we have in here. We've got two more Coleus. So we've got our brand new flowerful hydrangeas, and I'm just very, very impressed. Last week it rained like every day, and these did not miss a beat. I've seen so many other Annabelle hydrangeas around town that are just flopped over to the ground now, and these are holding strong, and the blooms are just getting bigger and bigger. I'm coming for this one right here. They're getting bigger and bigger by the day. Look at that. Oh my gosh.
I can't believe how big
and
that
the
is.
stem, I can barely move the stem. That's how strong it is. It's really, really beautiful. And it's exactly what we wanted to have right here in this spot. We've got a Sergeant Pepper dogwood in here that's got really beautiful foliage on it. And this is another one that will have red stems in the winter. So in the winter, when the hydrangeas are just sticks, we'll have this. And our Firefly Oriental Spruce has some winter interest. And it's doing great too. I haven't seen any of the little tips dip down or anything. Do you like it still?
I still love it. It's just such a fun, bright color right here. And I think that that's exactly what the space needed now. Do I wish it was about 3 feet taller? Of course I do.
I do have a fear of it getting swallowed up by Flowerful next year maybe. But if it does, we can move it. We'll figure it out. But for right now, it's perfect. We've got a bunch of wild rose heuchera in here. And these things are huge. We haven't planted this variety before last year. We've typically planted wild berry, but this one is really, really pretty. It has a little bit more of a hot pink. There's some over here that I can show you. It has a little bit more of a pink color to it, I guess, than the wild berry, but also is a little bit bigger, which I think is fun. I do need one more on this side to complete our planting order here, but I'm really, really liking these. Got to talk about these. So these are Pop Star hydrangeas, and they are just everything right now. You can see they are soil pH dependent. So these two here are very blue, and this one is a little bit more purple. And you know, we didn't do anything different to the soil here. It's just how the pH is in the soil, and a few feet over, it's completely different, which is pretty cool. These are a rebloomer, so you can see we're already getting more buds here, and it will hold this color throughout the summer. It's really pretty. I love it. It makes for a nice pop against the flowerful. And the reason why we planted these here instead of continuing flowerful was, one, we wanted more interest, but two, this spot gets a little bit more shade, and these like a little bit more shade than flowerful. We've got a Fireside 9-bark here that is looking really, really pretty. Add some nice dark foliage color in here. We've got some tassel ferns, which I thought these were supposed to be way bigger. Do we think these were tagged wrong?
That's possible.
They're supposed to be 3x3, and I'm like, they are not even close to that.
Sometimes I think it takes time for ferns to get established, especially in an area like this that maybe they're not getting quite enough water.
Yeah.
So that could be the case.
Maybe so. It's still pretty. We've got some Ligularia in here that will bloom hopefully soon. Hudson Bay hostas that we transplanted from the old island bed. And we do have a little bit of burn on these. I didn't realize how much afternoon sun this spot gets. So we'll see how they do in the rest of the season. A A couple of other hostas in here. This is Eclipse Hydrangea, and it is a dark-leaved hydrangea. Super cool. The blooms are so bold. It's so pink that it's almost red. And I didn't realize how much we needed this color right here under the oak tree, but it really, really pops, especially with the lime green heuchera. I mean, I love it. What do you think, Brian?
I think it's so pretty. And honestly, I didn't expect them to pop this much under this tree, but the foliage is like a really, really, really rich color. And you still have the green etching in the leaf. And I think that really helps it pop. But the dark is just so interesting. So beautiful.
I love it paired with this hosta. I think this is Hope
Springs Eternal.
Hope Springs Eternal. That's kind of hard to say. But this is obviously a variegated hosta, but having the really, really light edges with this dark foliage, I love it together. And clearly it's like a beautiful view up to the house. These are dressed up ball gown heucheras, and we've got two back here that I think are an old variety, pistachio something, or maybe apple something. But you can tell because they have pink blooms instead of the white. I actually like the pink blooms better with the hydrangea, but Brian said he likes the white. So maybe we'll swap them out, who knows. Let's head up to the front of the house and see what's going on up there. So clearly, we've been doing a lot of work to the front of the house. We dug out two very overgrown ligustrum bushes, and I feel like the house looks so much bigger without them. It's just so nice. So if we head up here, we can talk about the details. So here on the corner, we've got a pugster amethyst butterfly bush, and you can see a little bit angry on the back, but we've got this beautiful bloom here, and it was definitely not getting this much sun with the ligustrum bush. It was really kind of hanging over the whole thing, which is crazy to think about. But I think this is gonna really, really like it here, now that it's getting more sun. Supertunia Tiara Blue is just really going for it. Something I've noticed up here in comparison to the Union Garden, I feel like they're mounding a little bit more. Here it just feels like they're growing in a straight line. I think maybe they just need more time. I think we planted the Union Garden maybe a week before these, so that could be it. We've got our Bush's Lace Engelmann spruce, and it has also not missed a beat. I mean, just looks so nice in this spot. And we definitely got it far enough out from the house so that once it does get as tall as the house, the branches won't be laying over on the roof. We were trying to avoid that. And I just love it in this spot. I think it's the perfect little spruce for our house. I don't know how to, it just feels like a cottage now. It's perfect.
Feels like art too.
Yeah.
Like when I was walking up, just the view of the front of the house feels balanced and perfect. And it doesn't feel overweight on the edges with those two giant Japanese privets, ligustrums.
Yeah, I love it. We've got, I think these are bloomstruck hydrangeas back here. Stunning. They've been in bloom for many, many weeks.
I don't think I've ever seen them this dark.
Yeah, they are really dark this year. And the blooms are really big too.
Mm-hmm.
Another fall container that we have yet to clean out. Just ignore that. But I do want to show you the containers on our front porch. So I planted these, it was the same day that we planted the penstemon, so like 5 weeks. So this is like 5 weeks of growth. And when I planted them, the Swedish ivy was like standing up straight, and it was taller than the coleus. And it was a moment where you just have to trust that everything is going to work out and they are going to grow as they say on the tag. And it's looking really, really nice.
Look at that begonia in there.
Yeah, so this is a
apple blossom?
I think it's the apple blossom double primrose. We'll get the official name for you, but just really, really stunning. Swedish ivy, limestone coleus. That's it. sometimes all you need is something simple, and it just makes for a beautiful, beautiful container. And look how big. Look at that. That's insane.
I love it.
Yeah.
You got some ferns up there.
Boston ferns. We are going to pot these up in some hanging baskets, but our shed is just in such a disarray that we couldn't find the chains. So we've got some work to do to clean out the shed. Over this way, we've got the tiara blue continuing. And then we've got a weeping deodar cedar. And it's finally starting to weep. I feel like for so long it was just growing straight up, but we're finally starting to get some weeping action on this. We've got a Winecraft black smoke bush. It has yet to smoke, so I don't know what's going on with it. Still pretty though. Still nice foliage up here. And then we've got our Verdoni Hinoki cypress. Gorgeous. It also has not missed a beat. And it just is like the perfect little cap for this flower bed right here. I really love it. I think we're going to end with our picket fence garden that we just recently planted on camera. So if I head this way, we've got tomatoes here that we are just trying to work into the garden. You guys know that we don't have a dedicated spot to grow vegetables and fruit and herbs, and so we're just trying to work them into our garden. So eventually there will be some other things here, maybe hydrangeas, other perennials, and the tomatoes will just kind of grow up and be mixed in, which I think is pretty cool. Brian did, thankfully, go in and mulch everything with compost. I came home and it was all done, so that's kind of nice. We've got our Illuminati Spice mock orange that is has the variegated foliage. So there's one here, there's one just on the other side. We've got daylily here, and we've got our cabbage rudbeckia. Is it rudbeckia or sunflower?
Cabbage leaf rudbeckia.
Okay. I didn't think that it would get its brown color so quickly, but it's so cool.
I think they're so interesting.
I think it's so funny how tall they are because they're actually short. Like in reality, they will be much taller. Like, didn't the guy say they'll be like 8 feet tall?
Yes, I think what we're saying is they're short this year.
Yeah.
Shorter than they will be. He said this year that they would probably put on 3 or 4 bloom shoots, which is exactly what they've done.
Yeah.
And they would not get quite as tall. He said his second year they came up and they were about 8 feet tall and had about 8 to 12 blooms. So
cool.
Next year is going to be really fun.
Will it spread like a normal rudbeckia?
It will, yep.
Oh my gosh.
Which I'm happy
You've been
about.
pulling these things out for years. French vanilla hibiscus, doing really well. We transplanted this, we dug this up probably like 2 months ago and had it in a container for those 2 months. And then just came out here one day and decided we're going to get started and do it. And Brian planted it, and it's looking amazing. We've got, what are these things called that we got from your mom?
Lord, I always forget what they are called. We'll pop the name up on the screen, but at my mom's house, she has sort of a very woodlands garden that we've been helping her with post-hurricane. And these pop up all over her garden, and they will throw up really beautiful silver bloom stalks, and sometimes white blooms and sometimes pink blooms. And hopefully that's ringing a bell if you know what this is. But if not, we'll pop up a name. I'm just excited to have them in this garden and spread themselves around.
Couldn't tell you what it's called. We've got Desert Plains fountain grass back there. What is this called? Goldenrod spark plug that's just going out of bloom. Look at the castor bean plants.
It's such an interesting plant.
It's so cool. I just feel like overnight they shot up.
Yeah, and the leaves on them are massive now. If you can see my hand, like, they are huge, and they were not like that. You can see this bloom in here. Obviously, we know that that's poisonous, but there's just these interesting little blooms in here that I actually love leaving on the plant.
We also have 2 baptisias that we transplanted, and this one is not happy. Back here, like this part back here looks okay. The front part is really mad. So this is a pink lemonade baptisia. There's one here. There's one on the other side of the fence. That one looks really good. This one, not so much. If you have ever tried to transplant a baptisia, they actually have a taproot that goes pretty far in the ground. So it's kind of like a risk to try to transplant them. These used to be on either side of the shed, and we knew that we wanted to have them out here because they were just getting overgrown for that spot. So we took the risk. I think we're gonna at least have one. Maybe we'll have this one as well. Maybe we can recover it, we'll see. But if so, this is gonna be some really cool interest up here. We've got our pink gen foxgloves. We've got, I think these are the powwow
Pink.
berry. I think they're called
powwow
berry or wildberry.
Yep.
Coneflowers. And we bought 3 of these probably 3 years ago. And they were in the shed bed. We dug them up. And one of the clumps was like, I'm not kidding, it was like this big around. And so we divided them and they have made it. We've got a couple stalks here that are not happy, but for the most part, I mean, they look really good. I think this is going to be nice. And then I know it looks silly that we have this tall layer right at the front, but there is a rudbeckia back there that will get 3 feet tall. We've got the blue grama grasses that will get 2 to 3 feet tall. So we'll have some more height back there to take up later on in the season. Right here, we've got azure snow salvia, which is about to bloom. We've got 3 lemon jade sedum right here, and I'm just kind of amazed. We dug them up, and every single year they have flopped on us in their spot. And so I thought, surely when we dig these up and try to transplant them, they will flop. Nothing. Perfectly fine. So cool. We do have some other things on the other side of the fence, but there's just not much in bloom right now. So we will show you guys that on another day. But I think that does it for this June garden tour.
Thank you guys for watching this June garden tour. I honestly can't even believe that it's already June.
Yeah.
July is next month, and then we're into August, and I feel like it's all gonna go away so fast, which makes me so sad.
For pumpkin everything.
Please, let's not
Oh my
do
gosh,
this.
I'm so excited.
You guys don't get mad at him. Like this video still, please. And be sure you subscribe to our channel, and we will see you guys in the next one.
Bye.